What's up, YouTube? So today, I know it's been a while since I've put out a video. Had some personal stuff going on and just been busy with work, so I haven't been able to produce videos. And today's going to be a little bit different. Like, you're not really going to see me too much. And I'm trying out quite a bit of new equipment. I have a new cell phone that has a better camera, so we're going to try it. I also have a wireless mic, so we're going to see how things go. But today, like I said, we're going to do maintenance. On some of these tanks, it's just going to be water changes. On other tanks, it's going to be water changes and trimmings and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and start on Into the Woods. And with this one, we're just going to do a water change. I already have prepared water. And so we're just going to go ahead and pull out a couple of gallons and refill. If I can get the stupid fish out of the way. Okay, I guess the rock's staying there. That's good. That'll keep fish from getting sucked up into it. Hopefully. And while this tank could use a trimming, since it's into the woods, I really do like it to have that overgrown forest look. So I'm just going to leave the plants. I finally got the algae under control in this tank. And so I'm just going to leave it alone. And I'm not fancy enough to have a python or anything like that, and it wouldn't help me anyway because the closest sink is across the hallway in the bathroom. So I do things the old-fashioned way with a bucket and a 5-gallon jug of water. And this is my guppy grow out tank, but that has become a bit problematic because the guppies have grown enough that they're reproducing in this tank now. And so now I'm growing out multiple generations of guppies. And I have plans to move many of these guppies to other tanks that I have so that they can continue growing and not be so overcrowded. But there we go, maintenance on that tank, really quick and easy. I think I'm going to take my tweezers and just go in and grab out some dead valve that has come loose. If indeed it is dead, that one is not. And that one is none of them are technically dead, so we'll leave them there, I guess. Alright, so real quick and easy, super simple maintenance on Into the Woods, just because, like I said, I like it to have that really overgrown forest feel since it is a forest themed tank. But now we're going to move over to the Protector of the Pearls, and that one's going to be a little more in depth because it needs a trim. I need to get a bunch of duckweed out, so we'll go ahead and reposition and do that one. Now we're here with the protector of the pearls. And the first thing that I'm going to do with this tank is just get rid of some of this duckweed. I hate duckweed, but unfortunately it came in a couple of these tanks that I have, and we also bought some plants from Dustin's fish tanks, and they were infested with duckweed. Great plants, just infested with duckweed. So just something to keep in mind. I'm not blasting that company by any means. Great plants, great shipping, just had duckweed. And as anybody who has fish tanks knows, once you have duckweed, you have duckweed. And there is the vast majority of the duckweed out of there. So now I'm going to go ahead and trim this pearlweed up some. Sorry about that. Okay, I've got to move things around real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, there we go. Now I can actually get in here and work. He gets very upset when I trim his pearlweed. And the vacuum was a good idea, but I don't think it's going to work for everything, so now we'll just go ahead and finish trimming up. that's fairly good. Alright, so it looks like I got all of the pearlweed out that I trimmed. And more duckweed. Always more duckweed. And now we'll just go ahead and add water. Actually, on this tank, I do need to go ahead and clean the filter material out as well. Oh, no, I don't. I just need to clean the filter inlet because it's full of crap. There we go. Much better. And eventually, all the pearlweed will float to the top, and I will go through and, well, I'll go ahead and do it now while a bunch of it is floating up to the top. And of course, as always, more duckweed. And also, even in this tank, I've mostly got the algae under control, but so that it doesn't take over again, I'll have to find it, but I have, oh, there it is. some Excel that I'm going to go ahead and dose. And there's still pearlweed floating around in there, damn it. Oh well, it happens. I'll get it all scooped out eventually over the course of the day. Alright, and there's Protector of the Pearls. Water change, maintenance done. And here we are with Paradise Valley. Not to be confused with Hidden Valley. Yeah, I know, terrible jokes. If you're into that stuff, go ahead and subscribe. I mean, there's going to be a lot of really bad dad jokes, even though I'm not a dad. I'm old enough to be one, so dad jokes come with age, not children. So we're going to go ahead, and in this one I always do a full 5-gallon water change. The other ones, usually, I don't know, between 1.5 and 3 gallons, whenever I realize that I've taken out enough water. And this tank, as you can tell, I had a lot of die-off on my plants when I was treating for algae. And like I said, on the other two, I think I've got all the algae issues taken care of. I've cut down lighting, I've cut down the intensity of the lighting, I've cut down feeding. Everything should be good now. But everything in this tank, other than the crypts, took a beating. The crypts were doing fine, but everything else, like I said, took a beating. Didn't like the Excel or the peroxide that I was using to combat the algae. And on this one, I will definitely be cleaning out the filter material as well. And I don't know if you're catching this on the video or not, but we are actively fighting time because this tank's lights are cycling off because it's the end of the day for this tank. And that is completely my fault for being lazy all day. A lot of people would turn their filters off when doing this, but it'll be fine. Oh, hi. So I'm not going to take the time to move the camera, but I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing is I've got the bucket of tank water down here, and I'm just taking the filter media that was in the filter and rinsing it out in the tank water. And really the only thing that needs to be cleaned is the bottom layer, which is the sponge. And it's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing and catching all the particles before they go out into the water column. And I do this on this tank about once a month. I clean the filter because that's when it needs it. And I do water changes every single week. I have a big 54-gallon tank set up in the living room that I do water changes on like once every 2 or 3 months. But that's because it is a much larger quantity of water. It's technically less heavily stocked, even though it has more fish. And big tanks are just easier, in my opinion, to get that equilibrium where you really don't have to do water changes as often. And when I'm pouring the water in, I always pour it on the rocks over here on the left, because that way it doesn't uproot a bunch of plants and screw up the substrate and all that good fun, you know. And yes, there is some Hygrophila polysperma that's floating around. It got dug up, and I just don't know where I'm going to put it right now. But since it's mainly a stem plant, it'll be fine floating around for a day or two until I figure out where I want it to go. And then, what I didn't show on the other tanks is then when I'm done, I go through with a microfiber and just wipe everything down. And I just recently switched from using paper towel to using strictly microfibers, because I do realize that using paper towels, I could have scratched up my tanks. Alright, but there's Protector of the Pearls. Like I said, the lights are going dim. I know you can see it now. The lights have dimmed significantly. And now we're going to move to the other fish room and get those 2 tanks done. Now we're going to do a small water change on the Dutch tank, the Nano Dutch tank. I'm going to have to be careful because, as you can see, it does have blue dream neocardinas in it. Normally I would be doing a trim on it, and I know I'm going to be kicking myself in the ass by like Wednesday. This is being shot on Sunday. So by Wednesday I know I'm going to be kicking myself in the butt, but I'm not going to stress the shrimp out right now, and I'm not going to do a trim. And maybe I'm just being lazy, I don't know. But yeah, we'll let it go until next week before I trim it again. Not only that, but then I'll have lots more big plants that I can put into other tanks. And I know it may not look it, but I am fairly careful when I put the water back in because I don't want to hurt the shrimp or the plants. Sorry about that. And then, per the usual, just go wipe it down, make sure everything's nice and pretty, and I will go through and pick out all of the floaties that got dislodged. Okay, you get the picture. I'm not going to bore you guys with me picking them all out, but I promise you I will. Now that brings us to the Boulder Field, and on this one I'm going to go ahead and do a water change and clean the filter out. And I have to be careful in this tank because there are lots of guppy fry and they're stupid. And I apologize if I just covered you up with my t-shirt. And because there are so many fry in this tank, before I dump this water, I will go through with a flashlight and make sure that there are no fry that got thrown out. So after I take the water out, then I have this really nifty, oh, you can't even see it. Oh, we are way too close. I apologize for that, y'all. Alright. Well, I've got this really nifty thing that I was sent from Seaoura. Full disclosure, I was sent this product to review. I'm not getting paid for my opinion one way or the other than the fact that they did provide this. And what it is is it's a thermostat, or I mean a thermometer, and an algae scraper. And it works amazing. So, I'm just going to go ahead and scrape the algae off the tank. And scare the hell out of all of the fish. And even though this tank has the Seaoura SR666 light on it, that has a built-in thermometer on the light control, I just find it much easier to check this thermometer than it is to look at the lighting switch, because I never use the lighting switch. I set it and I forget it. But there it is. It is an absolutely amazing device. I love it. It's accurate and it cleans the glass really, really well. I will leave a link in the comments below. But now I'm going to go ahead and clean the filter. And then we'll put more water in. And all of this water, I'm not showing it on camera, but I just use Prime to make sure my water is safe. And the filter that is on this is an Aquaclear 50. And I just absolutely love this filter. It makes it really easy to clean your filter media with the basket. But I'm gonna have to turn you guys off so that I can move the bucket so that I can clean this out. Okay, well, I spared you the boring part of cleaning out the filter. If you're in the aquarium hobby, you know how to clean out the filter material. Tank water, and then if it's a sponge, which all that has, it has a bag of ceramic biological media, the real small Fluval stuff, and then the rest of it is just filled up with coarse filter sponge. Squeeze out your sponge, bada bing, bada boo, done. And now, just go ahead and add your water back in. And you will probably notice that this tank has a significant amount of algae in it. And that is completely my fault. I had been running a DIY CO2 system on it, and I got lazy. I will be completely honest. I got lazy. I took the DIY CO2 off of it and started developing some blackbeard algae. It's not taking over anything, it's just on a few leaves. So honestly, I'm kind of okay to leave it at the moment. I think it looks more natural, it makes a more natural environment for the fish. What I did do is I'm now using less nutrients because I don't have the CO2 helping everything out. And I cut my light down to 65% so that less light, less nutrients, ergo less algae. And there you have it. I mean, that has been pretty much my Sunday routine every Sunday. I do need to wipe this glass down, but once again, you guys don't need to see that. You've seen me do it on 2 or 3 tanks already. So I just want to thank you guys for watching, coming along with the journey. I know this video is a little different than my usual ones where I'm setting up new tanks, but I just wanted to show you what happens after you set up the tanks, and also show you that I'm not perfect. I screw up. Some of my tanks have algae. In fact, most of my tanks have algae, but most of my tanks have manageable algae, or algae that is 100% managed. Like it's just part of the ecosystem. And for me, that's more important than having this absolute pristine tank. If an aquarist tells you that their tank doesn't have any algae at all, that means that either they are spending all of their time making sure there's no algae, or they're just outright lying to your face. Algae happens. If you have a planted aquarium, algae is going to happen. But there are ways to bring it under control, both natural by using less light time, less nutrients, even if that's just feeding less. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for, like I said, coming along. You know, typical YouTuber shit. Typical YouTuber crap. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe, share it. Until next time, keep them wet, get your hands wet, have fun.